Assalamu alaikum everyone, my name is Muhi Khwaja with American Muslim Community Foundation, and today on the Muslim Philanthropy Podcast we have Tabari Zahir. He is the Reentry Manager at Tayba Foundation. Welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum salam rahmatullah. How are you?
Doing well, alhamdulillah. And yourself?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So want to give you an opportunity to share a little bit more about yourself. You can talk about where you grew up, kind of your background, family, whatever you'd like to include.
Alhamdulillah, bismillah. Yes, so alhamdulillah, I was born into a Muslim family. My parents converted in the late 60s, early 70s. There was a lot going on during that time. And so, I pretty much grew up like in there was a Muslim community, small Muslim community on the close to the East Coast. Um, Learned about Islam from a very very early age, but then everything was going good until I was put in public school, like right around the fifth or sixth grade, and
Mm-hmm.
then my worldview changed. All right, um, and I have to explain all of that because it's going to have an impact in the future, which is going to cause me to become incarcerated. Um, so, I went into the public school. Like I said, my worldview changed. I learned, this is in the inner cities, different places, but all in the inner cities. And you know what comes with that? There's poverty, a lot of bad habits, and there wasn't the infrastructure, the Islamic infrastructure then, like there is now.
Sure.
So, to make a long story short, I learned all of those bad habits, um, drug dealing, hanging out on the corner, gang fights, all of those type of things. But I didn't immediately, I didn't. That's not what actually caused the incarceration. That's what caused the love of, quick money, the love of,
Mm-hmm.
um, the world, basically. But it actually caught up to me later, when I was close to, my late 20s. Then, I fell back into some of those old habits and I ended up incarcerated for 11 years and 3 months.
Wow. When you were um, released and kind of had to come back out on your own, what was it that helped you kind of transition back?
Right. So, Alhamdulillah, while I was incarcerated, um, I had an opportunity to finally just sit still and begin to learn my deen at a deep level. And I was self motivated to actually change, to uproot those habits, to uproot the love of those, different habits. And, something that held me over for almost a decade was the Taba Foundation, and very generously, they send in, materials so that you can learn your deen, that you can study your deen. Um, and they do it semester after semester after semester. Whatever you need, they send it to you. So that allowed me to, learn my deen, spend my time positively. And then when I came home, um, they helped me in a lot of ways. Alhamdulillah, they gave me assistance in different ways. I would say another thing that helped me personally was that I went in as a Muslim. So I already knew how to
Sure.
navigate Muslim spaces. I already knew how to do that. There's a lot of Muslims, they become Muslim in prison. They don't know how to navigate Muslim spaces. They don't know how to go to the masjid and arrange a marriage. They don't know how to go get, counseling from the Muslim community. They don't know how to ask the community for, funds for deposit so they can pay their rent. Like they don't know how to do that.
Sure.
So alhamdulillah, that was facilitated for me. And immediately, alhamdulillah, the Taba Foundation, um, They offered me a job to write, a book, an intro to Islam that would be like an intro to the Tayba curriculum, just teaching the basics about Islam. So, and it's about 200 pages. But alhamdulillah, that job, held me over for like 9 months. It held me over, gave me something positive to do while I was going to school, reestablishing my relationships with my children. It was just all around positivity from the Table Foundation.
That's really great to hear. And we have a previous podcast with Sheikh Rami Nassour, who goes into his background and kind of the origin of Tayba Foundation. And I'm really glad to see that, not only are you a beneficiary of the organization, but you are currently working with the organization as well. So it's great to see that full circle with Tayba Foundation.
Alhamdulillah. Yes, absolutely. I cannot stress. So, just to give some context, um, there's over 2.3 million people incarcerated right now. All right.
Right.
Anywhere between 10 to 15% of them, they're Muslim.
Wow.
We're talking about they identify as Muslim. They're
Yeah.
on the prison books as Muslim. There's a whole nother population that they have a sympathy for Islam. They lean towards Islam. They support Islam, but they haven't completely taken the steps to become a Muslim. So what you're talking about is almost 300,000 people. Like, this is a small city. Think about this.
Yeah.
There's a small city of Muslims all over this country, and they're not getting any help. Just think about that. They're not getting any help.
Yeah.
And so what the work that the Tayba Foundation is doing is completely indispensable. It's indispensable for the Muslim community. There's like, this is, when we speak about, what are we responsible for? What are we responsible for? The Muslim community is responsible for taking care of all of the Muslim community. This is fard kifaya.
Right.
This is a communal obligation. And I would just encourage everyone to find out about the Tayba Foundation, support the Tayba Foundation, because they're actually taking a lot of the burden off of the rest of the Muslim community by doing this work.
Yeah, I think the way that you illustrate it definitely paints the picture of kind of like the forgotten Muslim, right? And it's unfortunate that it is that way. So I'm personally thankful for Tayba Foundation to make sure that Muslims who are incarcerated have resources and the ability to continue to learn and explore their faith and make that transition when they return to society as well. In terms of, growing up in America as a Muslim, and even today, what would you say Black History Month means to you?
The truth of the matter is, the truth of the matter is, African Americans have contributed blood, sweat, and tears to this country.
No lie. Yeah.
Blood, right? The vast amount of wealth that was created in this country was created on the backs of Black people. The White House was built and staffed by Black people. The very first Muslim communities in this country were Black. They were, Black Muslims.
Sure.
And so Black history is just a recognition, a small contribution, a small recognition, a small spotlight on some of those people, some of the works that they have done, and their contributions to the greater America. Now, as a Muslim, I'm very proud of people like Muhammad Ali,
Of
right?
course. Yeah,
Very, very proud. Like we are all proud of Malcolm X,
definitely.
right? We are proud of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Like all of these, brothers, have contributed to, social justice in this country, to the spread of Islam in this country. Um, and I'm proud to be a part of that. I'm proud to say, number one, yes, I am African American. I'm also a Muslim, and I'm also, in my way, contributing to social justice. So, and that doesn't. I'm not disregarding all the other, African Americans who have made contributions. Of course, um, Martin Luther King, right?
Hmm.
Rosa Parks, Coretta Scott King. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But this is a time when, we should be thankful, right? There's a hadith where the Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said,
So.
"Men lam yashkur nas lam yashkur Allah." If they're not grateful to mankind, they're not grateful to people, then they're not grateful to Allah, right? So you have to be grateful for the work of Martin Luther King, because the work that he did and the people that supported him, they laid that foundation so that non-whites could migrate to this country,
Right. Civil
right?
Rights
The
Act. Yeah.
Civil Rights Act would not be without, the work of Martin Luther King, the people who supported him, and
True.
there was a time when you could not migrate to America unless you were white. Now you can migrate to America and they don't take in consideration your race, your creed, your culture, your language, your background. So we have to be grateful. This is just one way every year of being grateful. That's it. That's how I see it.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I think that you know there was a talk given by Imam Zaid Shaker on the legacy of Malcolm X, and uh, it was called "Passing the Baton," right?
Yeah.
And the idea that all of these great giants in not only in the Muslim community but also in the African American Black community have left such a legacy for us, and if we're not going to continue it, we need to be carrying it forward to continue their legacy and honor their legacy through the work that we do every day. And I think that is a great example of what Tayba Foundation is doing to make sure that those who are incarcerated, who are Muslim, are not forgotten and are continue to be supported. Um, can you tell us a little bit more about your role as a reentry manager and kind of the support you provide in addition to some of the coursework that you've done?
Absolutely. Okay, so you have just to give you an example, we've had over 2,000 students who was enrolled in the fall semester. Over 2,000 students all
Wow.
across America, male and female, at the jail level, the state level, the federal level. Okay, and Alhamdulillah, they want to learn. Okay, they want to learn, but many of them don't have resources. So Table provides these resources for free with the support of the Muslims in general. Um, but then the question is, okay, 95% of them are going to come home. How do we help them put what their knowledge into action?
Hmm.
Okay, because you have people that have been gone for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. They don't know how to use a smartphone. Okay, some of them have mental health issues. They don't, all of their family died while they were gone. They don't know how to navigate the Muslim community. So how do we help them? We just say, okay, here's $200 and okay, go on your way. That would be a shame. That would be a shame. So Alhamdulillah, Sheikh Rami and Sor, the board, they supported this initiative. Let's, create a program so that when the Tayba students come home, even if they don't come home to California, we can direct them to sources in their community,
Right.
whether they're in New York, whether they're in Florida, whether they're in Colorado, wherever they come home to, we can send them a list. Here, you need to get your license, go here. You need some housing, go here. You need to get this, go there. So that's nationwide, that we try to locate resources for them, and we also try to locate sources, Muslim communities who are doing similar work. They understand the plight of the reentrant, the person who's come home,
Hmm.
and it can help facilitate that for them. So, for example, Iman in Chicago. I'm sure you've heard about Iman.
Of course.
And then they have a chapter in Atlanta. So we've done some work with them. If I know somebody's coming home to the Chicago area, I know someone's coming home to the Atlanta area, I can immediately say, here, get in contact with this particular organization. Why? Because this organization knows their plight. They know exactly what happens when people come home to the inner city, and then they can plug them into the resources that they need. And we're trying to establish something like that, like in every major metropolis across the country. That's what we're trying to do.
Right.
All right. The other thing that we're doing, right now is here in Southern California, we are establishing a center where when Muslims come home, and it's going to be expanded even for non-Muslims, okay, where when they come home, we will be a one-stop shop. Like, you can come here and we will have the linkages. We will help you to navigate the system. You need housing, we will do the case management. We'll assess your needs, send you here for this, send you there for that, send you here for that, and provide in-house mental health services and substance abuse services. In-house life
Right.
skill services, mental health services, substance abuse services, and that will be in-house. Myself, inshallah, I'll be graduating, from with a master's in social work in about 3 months. So
That's
inshallah,
awesome.
I'll be qualified to, to administer those services myself. But inshallah, like, this is something that, we're looking long term. Like, this program, we're setting up the model, but it needs to be everywhere where there are Muslims and everywhere
Right.
where Muslims are coming home.
Yeah, I think these wraparound social services are so critical. You know, regardless of whether somebody is coming from incarceration or not, just somewhere where people know where to get these services from as well. But I think even more importantly, in your case, helping that reentry and adjustment back into society is really critical to make sure, the challenges with recidivism, and making sure that they don't go back. I think it would be fantastic to see Tayba Foundation and Iman and other similar organizations that have reentry programs to really work with their local communities. There's the CIOGC is the Council of Islamic Organizations of Greater Chicago. There's the Shura Council of Southern California. There's the Northern Islamic California Council. And all across the country, there are dozens of these umbrella organizations that hopefully, with partnership and collaboration, some of these wraparound social services can be replicated more easily. So really looking forward to Tayba Foundation's growth and ability to begin a project like that, so it could be a model for the rest of the community.
Inshallah. I mean, that's the plan. And with the blessing of Allah, it's going to manifest because the need is there. It's clearly a need. And this is another thing, and this is what's personal. This is something very, very personal for me. Um, a lot of times when we think about incarceration, okay, we think about, oh, they must have done something, right?
Mm.
And many times that's true. But what George Floyd has shown us is that there is this over policing of Black and brown bodies.
Right.
There's this overcharging of Black and brown bodies, over incarceration of Black and brown bodies. And there's no regard for their potential, no regard for their skill sets. And as Muslims, what we have to consider is, are we taking into consideration, their ability to repent, right? Their ability to reform and be an asset to the community.
Right.
Right? How can we make them assets to the community? How can we do that? So this is perfect. The Tayba Foundation is making scholars in prison.
Wow.
And when they come home, they are able to, um, tell the youth, because it's happening right now. We have people that come home, they've done 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And, a lot of our youth are listening to the hip hop music that this person, he lived that life. You're just listening to the music, but he lived that life and he can tell you, I've been down that road. It's not a good place to be. All right.
Sure.
It's not a good place to be. So I can give you experience, but I can also tell you the Quranic and the Sunan proof, right? It's one thing when you go to the masjid and the imam can say, don't drink, don't do this, don't do that, but he has no experience. He has no experience.
Mm.
What about someone who can do that? Plus he can say, and I'll tell you why, and then tell his life. That's more of an impact.
Sure.
That's more impact. So I'm looking at it from that aspect. I'm also looking at from the aspect, I totally understand. Probably most of your viewers, like they just don't have, that experience. They don't know what it's like to be in a gang and end up in prison, to, be in the streets and end up in prison. I totally get it. I totally understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But there are ways that they can find out and support it, right? I teach high school kids on the weekends. I teach them the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I try to drive home to them. You have to be involved in social justice. I don't care if you're going to be a doctor. You have to donate some of your time to the people who need you the most. It cannot just be about money, right? You have a higher calling than that, right? If you're going to be an engineer, you've got to donate some of your time, to build Tayba, a beautiful building in Southern California, right?
Sure.
Whatever your thing is, donate your resources, donate your time, donate your skill set, to contribute to improving the lives of people. The community will thank you for it, and inshallah, Allah will bless you for it. So,
Inshallah,
that's how I see it. Yeah, that's how I see it.
Great. Well, is there anything else about Tayba Foundation that you would like to share with everyone?
Every Muslim community, I don't care, even in the suburbs, okay, every Muslim community has people that come home from prison. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't care where you are, you're going to have someone in your midst who has been to jail or has been to prison, is on probation, something. The question is, how are we going to help them? How are we going to help them? I mean, we all claim, if you're a Muslim, we all claim Malcolm X. And he says outright, he got his master's and his PhD in prison, right? Like, and the Tayba Foundation is, inshallah, we are creating hundreds and thousands of Malcolm X's.
Right.
How are we going to plug them in? How are we going to utilize this resource? we can start off by supporting the Tayba Foundation, because this is the work that we're doing. And everyone benefits. Everyone benefits. I would hate for people not to know about the Tayba Foundation. I'm always surprised when I go somewhere and have you heard of the Tayba Foundation? No, I haven't heard. I'm like, not only do we, yeah, of course, we have to publicize more. We've got to get out there more, but Muslims have to be interested too. Muslims have to be interested,
Of
right?
course.
Who are the downtrodden? Who are the most downtrodden? Like this goes all, I don't have to tell you, this goes back to the sunnah of the Messenger of Allah. Like we know this. Who are the downtrodden? What do they need? Right? What do they need? وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا. And they give out despite their love of it, meaning their wealth or their resources, whatever, they give out. And then who? To who? Allah mentions the most downtrodden. Miskin, the poor, yatim, the orphans, and the prisoner. Right? It's clear. It's right there. We just have to pay attention.
Right.
That would
And
be my last message.
I appreciate it. And hopefully those who listen can learn more about the Tayba Foundation. I think it's a great resource and opportunity for people to send their zakat and make sure that they are fulfilling their obligation that helps other people that need it. And the work that you are doing is continuously appreciated. And hopefully, again, through Black History Month and showcasing different organizations that are uplifting Black leadership, Black thought leadership, and just continuing to center Black Muslim voices as well. We want to give that opportunity so that organizations like Tayba Foundation can continue to grow and be supported by the Muslim community overall.
May Allah make it so. That's our prayer also, inshallah. That's our prayer.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me, and looking forward to staying in touch.
Thank you for having me, Muhi. I appreciate it.
Of course.